So, Sel, can Mac Jones be the best quarterback from the 2021 draft class? Remember the names: Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance.
Fields. Who? One play Trey? One play Trey ain't going next. I'm not going to say can Mac Jones be the best. I'm going to say he will be the best. And that's right. Mac Jones already off to the fastest start of all of these guys. He's won more games this season than all the other rookie quarterbacks combined. Say those names again? Yeah, all of them. One play Trey, two, all of them combined. Go Mac Jones, and prove me right and prove the tried and true isms of this world to be correct. I was going to say something else, but I know where I work. You know the rich get richer for a reason because of a few factors. Let's just say, one, the company they keep, okay? Let's talk about the resources that they possess and the resources that they share. And then you look at Mac Jones, who goes to the best situation of all of these quarterbacks. And look how fast he's already taken root because of those conditions as well. Let's talk about those conditions. Let's list those conditions. You go to the greatest coach of all time. And the greatest coach of all time just so happened this offseason to spend the most in free agent history. Free agency history. He goes out there and gives you all the weapons you need, and I'm the greatest coach of all time. Now, who do you have to replace? A former MVP who didn't do so well for us. Let's just say that. And who is he replacing? Oh, the GOAT, who took his milk down south and left, and because he said this team is not good enough. So, you know, when Tom Brady left, expectations dropped. Then Cam Newton came, got the expectations up, then dropped them even lower. And then he walks into that situation, talking about a bed to lay in. He walks into a situation with low expectations, the most money spent in free agency history, and the greatest coach of all time. And then people are like, I wonder if he's going to do all right. Y'all forget this dude went to Alabama? I don't know about you, Acho, and this is probably going to be something you'd be like, yeah, I got recruited by Alabama. I did not. And I was damn good in high school, damn good. And not one letter ever said Alabama and Marcellus Wiley on it at the same damn time. Point being, you got to be talented to go to Alabama. I know cats getting recruited right now going to Alabama. These boys are monsters. And this guy goes to Alabama and has to sit behind who? Jalen Hurts and Tua. How that look right now in terms of Mac Jones and his ability? Man, he went to the best situation and quietly had tremendous ability to go to that situation and make the most of it. To me, it's not really a conversation right now. Trevor Lawrence is making me say, you sure about that? But we'll see what kind of team they possess around him. We'll see what kind of resources they supply him with. But right now, to me, it's an easy answer. Mac Jones will be the best.
Dang. Okay. It's not as easy for me, but I do agree. I think, will Mac Jones be the best? It depends on how you assess. You feel me?
Let me hear the rest.
My dog. That's why I rock with Sal. That's why I rock with you. It depends all on how you assess. After people qualify and cross into a certain threshold of greatness, it could be tax bracket, it could just be talent-based. Now things go from being objective measures to subjective measures.
Facts.
We all know in the game of basketball that Michael Jordan is greater than Robert Horry. We all know in the game of basketball that Manu Ginobili is greater than Robert Horry. But Robert Horry has more chips than Manu Ginobili. They are not in the same threshold. Once we get into players in the same threshold, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, well, now who's the best? It depends on how you assess. If some assess based upon rings, if some assess based upon wins, then all of a sudden LeBron is the best, or Michael Jordan rather. So for me, Mac Jones will be the best based upon and predicated upon how I assess the situation. Jones is going to win the most. Period.
Say it.
Is Jones going to be the most talented? I don't think so. No. I would put Justin Fields and I would put Trevor Lawrence. I would also go on to say this. Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and Mac Jones are the only three in my mind that will ascend into that threshold in the same conversation.
Okay.
I think in years to come, we will talk about Fields, Lawrence, Mac Jones. Unfortunately, I think Trey Lance is going to have too many coaching changes to really survive, and Zach Wilson went to a terrible situation that hasn't yet been fixed, and he hasn't fixed himself. So those are the three quarterbacks: Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Justin Fields. Of those three, who's going to win the most?
Yeah.
And when I look at who's going to win the most, it's very simply Mac Jones. So many people are going to bring up, okay, Acho, so you're telling me that Trent Dilfer is better than Phillip Rivers because Trent Dilfer has a ring? No. You have to ascend into the same peer level of conversation. Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning. They are in the same classification. So many, like myself, would take Eli Manning because Eli Manning won more meaningful games. When you have conversation about peers in the same class, now we have to start to differentiate what's the factor that really separates. In this instance, Mac Jones will win more. Yeah. That's why I'm with you on that, Sal.
Yeah, but now you're maybe a little perturbed, a little upset, because you agree with me, but then you agreed in a way that makes me a little concerned to how you assess this. I think Mac Jones is getting slighted, and his talent is getting slighted because we're looking at the quarterback position like we look at a receiver or something. Like, how high can you jump? How fast are you? You know, the best quarterbacks in the league ever are Tom Brady, Joe Montana, and Peyton Manning. And touching their toes may have been a problem, let alone running a 40-yard dash. But damn it, that processor, this microchip that they had up here was on the next level. And if I look at the greatest quarterbacks of all time, I see similar attributes with this young man and Mac Jones. Mac Jones is not a supreme athlete, but it doesn't mean he doesn't have supreme talent. Like, we got to reassess what talent looks like per position, right? Like, you could be big, fast, and strong. I remember defensive ends used to be, you had to be 6'4", 280, right? And then they started looking at them Dwight Freeney's, Jason Taylor's. It was like, just be a little thicker than a receiver. You know what I mean? Because it's like talent at a position, we got to understand what it is. Mac Jones is supremely talented to play quarterback because he's knowing the most important thing in sports. The fastest thing on the field is the ball. And if your mind is controlling that ball at that speed, I don't give a damn how fast you are. And this is something I see all the time at the youth level. My son, everybody, they get to the ball and then they start hogging it. They start holding it. I'm like, dog, get rid of it. That's the fastest thing on the field. And Mac Jones, if you watch him, he's decisive. You watch Mac Jones right now, dog, on pace to break the all-time rookie record for completion percentage. Decisive, knows where to go with the football. You look at Mac Jones in totality, man, I'm seeing a lot of parallels to the greats. Not giving them that status yet, but certainly he does have similar attributes.
I'm with you on that, and I'm not going to take away from Mac Jones' greatness, but we always acknowledge this. Tom Brady did his most damage and won his Super Bowls when he had top-flight defense.
Yes.
Top 5 scoring defenses. Tom Brady was in the Super Bowl, and he won the majority of the time. Aaron Rodgers, the one time he got a top 5 scoring defense, he went to the Super Bowl. Any other year, sorry, didn't happen. But what does Mac Jones have this year? He has the number 2 defense as it pertains to how many points they give up, and a number 6 defense as it pertains to how many yards they give up. So I'm not slighting Mac Jones, and later in the show, I'm going to tell you just why Mac Jones is a beneficiary of the offensive scheme and why the offensive scheme is a beneficiary of Mac Jones. They both benefit from each other. But I also acknowledge this. Mac Jones is going to benefit from a phenomenal head coach in Belichick, a phenomenal defensive scheme, and a phenomenal offensive coordinator in Josh McDaniels, which we don't know if Trevor Lawrence has any of at the National Football level, National Football League. And Justin Fields, we sure as heck are questioning what he has surrounding him. So I'm with you. Mac Jones is a great talent, but he's also a beneficiary of great talent around him and a great mind around him, which is the true reason I'm going to say he's going to be the best in the class. I don't know if it's just his talent alone, but it's what he's able to do with all the pieces around him and the coaching around him.
Yeah, and that's part of it. Look, I get it. We can have a deep, layered conversation about isolating the variables. Barry Sanders, if he played in Dallas, oh, my God, you know, that's the conversation we're trying to avoid, but we're falling into it a little bit. That's part of the game. Bruh, when I got drafted, if I didn't get drafted to the Buffalo Bills, 52nd pick, 2nd round, if I would have just went to the New England Patriots and did the exact same thing, you know what I would be standing up here saying? I'm a Super Bowl champion. Like, I was just born into something different, right? They won the Super Bowl 2001. I was still building my rookie deal, not doing jack. Oh, Super Bowl champion Marcellus Wiley. Who knows what comes from that? So the point of it is, where you put your head down, where you're raised, where you're born, it matters.
Okay, let's have a barbershop conversation then. I'm just want to.
I don't go to the barbershop.
Well, you here now. Sorry. Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning.
What about him?
Who's better?
Phillip Rivers.
Okay, Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders.
It's not even close. I love you, Emmitt. Barry Sanders.
Okay, so you choose a more talented player over the more winning player.
Right.
Okay, then if that's the case, then do you think that Mac Jones is, in fact, more talented than Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence? No, I don't think Trevor Lawrence. But Trevor Lawrence is Trevor Lawrence is going to grow up like I grew up. Like, it's going to be some work to get to where you want to get to. Like, I grew up in Compton, South Central. Like, it was work, bro. I had to navigate. Trevor Lawrence going to have to navigate, along with Urban Meyer, how to make this a destination. Jacksonville has never been able to stay a destination.
Then why are you saying that Mac Jones will be the best if you think Trevor Lawrence is better?
Okay, because he's better, but not by that much of a difference if you factor in what his conditions are. I played in Jacksonville, so I know what Jacksonville looks like. Duval County, respect, but it's tough down there in terms of continuously being great. This is how I have the conversation. Imagine you Justin Fields. Like, to me, it's Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and then it's Mac Jones, all in that tier one. But I say by conditions, it's going to be Mac Jones. If you're in Chicago right now and you're Justin Fields, you're the most talented at the rookie quarterback position. Do you rest at night if you were in Foxborough? Could you rest the same? Knowing you got the greatest coach of all time? Nope. Knowing you got a tremendous coaching staff? Nope. You even got a quarterback whisperer as your head coach. And how's that working out? So you got to do not only what you're supposed to do, but you got to pick up a little of the slack from the others who don't seem like that they're fully capable of doing their job. That's too much to ask of a youngster. Meanwhile, Mac Jones just shows up. It's ready-made, kind of like our show. The producers make everything so easy for us. Tell the people how long before we get on this show and this set. Minutes before, we're ready to roll because everyone else is doing their part. I don't think in Jacksonville and I don't think in Chicago, they're going to all do their part.
So then I feel like it's not that Mac Jones is the best. He will have a better career is really what you're getting at.
Wow. Is Tom Brady the best quarterback ever?
I say yes, but I believe
best quarterback or just had the best career?
The reason I say yes is because the reason is if you are the best quarterback, then it will translate to winning the most. But I feel like you have the philosophy of best is most talented.
I am certainly, if you make me be binary and pick one, I pick talent over just team success. Because I know, listen to this. My man already, Mac Jones, has a higher passer rating than Tom Brady had in his first season, second season, third season, fourth season, fifth season, and sixth season. It took Tom Brady to his seventh season to have an aggregate objective measure passer rating higher than what we're seeing right now from Mac Jones. By that stat right there, you start to say, well, Mac Jones is better than Tom Brady. Well, he's off to a faster start than young Tom Brady. But then this is a whole different conversation when you start to saying who's the best quarterbacks. Because Peyton Manning comes into the conversation. Dan Marino, who I played against. John Elway, guys who would zip the ball by your head and you would hear it go by. Those guys don't have the same amount of wins, but you can't slight them as talent.
Well, I will say not everything can be measured on a Pro Football Reference or a basketballreference.com. Okay. I think sometimes when you qualify best, you have to add what are the intangibles? What are the metrics that you can't actually calculate?
Mac Jones.
That's why I'm staying with Mac.
Okay.
But to me, I just get confused, and we'll finish it off, Cam. I get confused because it's like, if Barry's the best, then why wasn't Barry the best? If Aaron Rodgers is the best, then why wasn't Rodgers the best?
I'll give you one example in my personal...
Obviously, I don't talk about running backs.
No, I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Dude, it's hard to objectively say you always play the same. But one year I had John Parella, no one knows who John Parella was. This dude could pick up the whole weight room with one hand, let alone one finger. And he was my defensive tackle in San Diego my first year. A lot of my sacks came from me turning the corner because I still had that get. And then Parella just pushing the pocket. Sack. He left in the offseason, go to the Oakland Raiders. I didn't think much of it. I was like, I'm feeling myself. And I'm still turning the corner. And then when I turned the corner, I started to notice the quarterback said, let me just step up. Dog, I got picture after picture in my mind, actual pictures, this close. And that's the difference between Marcellus, you the man, you falling off. All I'm saying is don't do that to Barry Sanders, because if Barry Sanders would have had that offensive line that they had in Dallas, if I would have had that John Parella for longer than just 1 year, who knows? But that's the conversation we're having at the barbershop. But this is why I don't go to the barbershop, because these conversations never end.